What is Athens Ave? Athens Ave is a hangout where the body of Christ can come and wrestle with our witness in the world that is becoming increasingly intolerant to our presence, to our position, and most of all, the praise to our God. What is Athens Ave? It's where we give a biblical worldview on life and ministry and seek to courageously respond to it as it's happening. You never know who you might see on Athens Ave. On Athens Ave, you're going to hear gossip in the pew. You're going to hear a fight in this corner. And on Athens Ave, we'll provide wisdom from the men of Issachar. It's always going down on Athens Ave. Make sure you make it right on Athens Ave. Man, oh man. I mean, can you not rock out to that?
Right. I'm always riding that groove on Athens Ave. Hey,
Shout out to Darnell Jackson for that.
Tell my man D-Jack, I'm going to just need the track, you know what I mean,
Okay.
without the voiceover. So I could just be like, when I'm riding down the Ave, I could just be like, where I hear that before?
You know? Yes. Oh my goodness. What's going on, Dr. LA?
Yo.
Yo.
I know you want that excitement. I'm trying to come in hype.
You actually did a lot better this time. I'm very proud of you. Okay, yeah, I'm very proud of you. You did a whole lot better.
I'm doing my best.
Oh my goodness. How's it going?
All is well.
How was your week?
Well, week was busy as usual. You know,
I mean,
I still got a job or two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
still sure?
That's an inside. That's an Athens Ave joke.
It's definitely an insider.
You know?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad that you still have a job. And so in speaking about your job, I figured I might as well just give the people what they want. They really want the gossip. They do. We say we don't want it, but they want it. So all I'm going to say is,
rid of pews in my church is the reason why.
Is this why you have chairs now?
We got chairs instead of pews. I hate going in a pew.
I've got something to tell you. I've got some news in the pew.
So this woman says she's a prophetess. She got a word for my husband. I said, no, you ain't got a word for him. You got a word for us. Natasha Davis. I told you, I'm not your typical first lady. This first lady fight. And if I catch you in the street, I warned you. I'm a Brooklyn chick. That'll never change. I'm just an anointed Brooklyn chick. And I'm coming for that. But I had to protect my household. I don't play with my husband. I'm going to get in trouble. But I'm going to whoop her. I ain't for everybody, but I'm for somebody.
I want to say I am so sorry. I'm saying I'm sorry because it is a sacred death. And if anyone knows about the sacred places, I am familiar with them. My actions as a leader should not have taken the position behind the sacred deaths. I should have stood in the place as a leader. But what you saw was a wife. And I spoke as a wife. And it is okay to speak as a wife. But it is not okay to speak as a wife from an overseer's position in a sacred desk behind the sacred place. I am very accountable. I don't need anyone to push me when to do it, how to do it. But I am speaking from a place of humility that I had to heal. I had to heal. I had to heal so that I would know how to handle life. I am not blaming anybody. I am not doing anything but saying, I am sorry. I don't apologize. I'm sorry. When you say I'm sorry, it comes from a different place. Anyone can give an apology, but I am saying, I am so sorry that I spoke out of line. That is the bottom line. I was out of line. I was wrong. And let me be accountable for what I said in a sacred desk at a sacred place. I am so sorry. I'm going to guarantee you something. I'm going to make mistakes, but that one will never happen again. I love you and I thank you. I want to be a better person, and this is why I'm here. I'm here to be a better person. I want to say yet again, I'm sorry. I love you. Forgive me, friends.
Yo, I don't know where you get this stuff.
It's my job to find it. So okay, so wait, before you say anything, because I know you probably have some things to say. Did you hear the zipper in the background? Whoever was in there was packing up. They was getting out of there. Okay, that was funny. But my personal opinion is that is not an excuse. Even her apology. No, like you just should not. You just don't. And so I don't know. What do you have to say?
Again, she communicated that she was out of line. I would have rather hear her say she was out of character. So out of line was
Okay.
based on where she did it from, not the fact that she did it. So she said it like, you know what? If I was out on the street, this is the way I communicate because I'm a Brooklyn girl. Like you can't cuss that many times. Out of the heart, the mouth speaks. You can't cuss and do all of that if that's not in you. Her issues was I shouldn't have did it from where I did it from, not the fact that she even did it. So to me, you know what I mean? Whether or not you did it, in the pulpit or whether or not you did it on the corner, the point is that you did it. That's who you are. She showed us who she was. I'm speaking as a first lady. I'm not speaking as, you're a Christian, right? So whether or not, this ain't positional, you know what I mean? Whether or not you're a first lady, whether or not you're a pastor, as a believer, you're out of line. As a believer, just doing what you did, you know what I mean, was ridiculous. So you apologizing as the first lady, I'm out of line doing it behind a sacred desk. No, as a Christian, you know what I mean? I don't care who you are, what role you play in the church as a believer, that shouldn't be your persona, So yeah, like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And the fact that nobody got up and sat her down,
Oh no, I didn't show you the whole video. Her husband. So we have to clip things, because for time's sake. But her husband, I thought, and that's what I thought. I thought instantly her husband was going to be like, "Cut it, Jamila. Like, sit down." He was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, but he was laughing in the corner. Now I don't know if it was like a nervous laugh. Like, oh my goodness, we're about to get in trouble. I don't know what it was.
As soon as you go laugh at our church, my brother's on the soundboard. He's cutting your mic. You go from, I believe that. Yeah, you got nothing.
Exactly.
You're not even going to get a chance to do all of that out your mouth from a place. They allowed that to go on because they knew she was a Brooklyn chick and they were scared to turn her down because she might kick. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. Look, and inciting a riot. I mean, let's just talk about this. Like the clip is way longer, but like even her encouraging her girls to have her back. She said, "When I see you," and I cut this out. She said, "When I see you, it's on site." Like she was really like, and I watched this and I said, "Am I watching what I'm watching?"
Somebody come and look at this
on the pulpit. And then y'all wonder why y'all don't want women in the pulpit. Too much emotionalism. I'm just saying. Come on, folks. I'm just saying, that made it harder for those of us who are not like that. And that, you know what I'm saying? And then just like you said, it was not an apology. It was an excuse. It wasn't really an apology. And the laugh at the end killed me. Friends. Her apology was way longer too, but we cut it. Hey, does our co-host want to get in on this? Pastor Ricky, you want to get on this?
Well, I am
Like like LA said, I don't know where you get these things, but
Right?
I'm just saying. Oh man, now, my thing is she said what was in her, and even the apology to me, she could have done without it, because I didn't take it as I'm not judging her heart, but I'm just saying I didn't take it that it was that serious. It was almost like, hey, if I saw you on the street, I would have said this, and I just said it from the pulpit. Well, you said what you said because of who you are. And I think there's some more discipling. And my question is, what's really going on at home that, you making it out to be that woman's issue? But hey,
Right.
let's look at the whole house here.
Uh-oh.
I
He
mean,
always
did
take
you
that thing a step further, don't
unpack?
he?
Did you just unpack it?
He always take that thing a step further.
You took that one step further, but that is really important, though, what you just said, Pastor Ricky, because I'm telling you, Darnell Jackson and I we didn't debate about it, but we really talked about this, and because I always say, "Oh, is this too risque to share?" or what have you, and he's like, "No, let's share it," because he's going to support it, because these are things that happen, right? He's like, "No, let's see what the with the pastors feel," and to me, that also points out that there is something else going on in the house, that you felt that you needed to say that on a national platform, or whoever is watching. It got to me for you to say that about your spouse. Like, handle that behind closed doors. Like, I couldn't believe she did it. Woo boy. But anyway, I'm glad that I could. All right, Pastor Rick, we're gonna see you in a minute. I'm glad that I could open up the day. I always like to just get it started before we go into our commercial break, with our sponsors. Why not? So we will be right back. When we come back, we are going to be in this corner. Pastor Ricky is going to join us again. I cannot wait for this one. This is going to be a good one. All right, we'll be right back.
Yesterday, a man came up to me following service to tell me he's been out of church for years. Somebody told him to read the pastor's diaries. He got a chance to hear situations that he dealt with but never understood from the pastor's perspective. It changed his heart, it softened his heart, and it brought him back to church. In the pastor's diary, you hear about the pressure and the pain, the power and the pride, the pedestal and the perseverance that pastors deal with and go through. Their passion of why they do what they do. It's easy as a pastor to have this Elijah complex, like you're the only one going through things. And it's easy when you're in the pulpit to look at the pastor and have such a judgmental perspective on them because they're on such a pedestal. The pastor's diary is meant to bring all of that together in one place, where myself, along with 26 other pastors, give an intimate look behind the pulpit. The pastor's diaries. It's here for you. It's here for the body. It's here to bring some healing and some reconciliation. Get your copy today.
I hope everyone goes out and grabs their copy of the pastor's diaries, because it's really a good book. So I'm trying to lighten the mood coming back off in this view.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still like, yo, that's crazy.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yes. Get your copy of the pastor's diaries, please, ladies and gentlemen, and be mindful of what you say on the pulpit, or just in general. How about that?
Amen.
Just in general, okay?
Yeah,
so
curses and blessings shouldn't come out of the same mouth.
Shouldn't come out of the same mouth, right? Did you read that somewhere? I know you didn't write that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is one of my favorite segments. Every segment is my favorite segment, so y'all know this by now. I want to go ahead and bring in Pastor Ricky one more time. What's up, Pastor Ricky?
Hey, it's all good, all good.
Today, we're talking about succession from inside the church or from outside of the church.
In this corner.
Hey, sir. As the elder statesman here, do you want to go first, or should I? It's up to you.
Let me go. And I want to thank you for giving way to the brother, man. I appreciate Q-Dog. Now, let me just share this. I believe and this is a tough one, about passing the baton, but I personally believe that it would be better based on succession. And this is my reason, if you give me a couple minutes to express. Biblical example we have is like Moses passed the baton to Joshua. That was a passing on. And you see Paul with Timothy and Titus. That's a passing on. And we know that we're in a fallen world and imperfections, if discipleship is done well, the pastor in the pulpit should be looking to leave well. And that includes preparing someone to succeed him. That's my personal, because he would have time to pour into the individual, and that individual would also have time to be known by the congregation, understand the vision of the church, not the vision of the pastor. The vision of the church, its reason for existing in the community where it is, and the influence it wants to have. So by being a part of the plan, I believe that succession should come within, because the person should know the church culture, the church community, should know how the Spirit is using him in preparation to succeed. That's my personal. I'll give way to you in a respectful way, so I don't take up all the time.
I appreciate that. I appreciate some time and the opportunity to speak in on this, and I appreciate your perspective. Let me say that, as we've been asked to try to be a little more civil.
Yeah.
But let's be clear: with the average pastoral tenure being about 5 years, we need to be clear that we're not often speaking of a savvy veteran who has been there 30 years, 25, 30 years, discipling somebody, and has this noted, proven assistant who he has prepared to pass the baton on, right? And so, so that's not normally the case, because you got an average of a 5-year tenure. So I think there are benefits from coming from without, and having somebody. Number one, they bring a new perspective. A new perspective comes with new ideas. They have not been tied to doing things the way they always been done. Right? Meaning that they're reviewing everything and they're seeing everything with fresh eyes. Unfortunately, churches got life cycles. We've talked about that on this show many times. And many times, church, rises to a point, it plateaus to a point, it declines to a point. And most of the time that happens because what was successful, 50 years ago is not working now, but yet we still doing the same thing the way we always did. When you bring in new voice, you bring in new perspective, and that gives new opportunity to see things in new ways and do things in new ways. And so coming from without brings that opportunity within.
And I agree. I understand thoroughly, but I'm thinking that can be a part of the training and development of the pastor to succeed. In other words, you're saying to the succeeding pastor, I don't want you to be me. I want you to be who the Lord has made you, but be like the men of Issachar. Know the times and know what Israel ought to do. So they need to be abreast of current things. They need to be indoctrinated with what's going on and what's going on in the times and new technologies. They should not be stagnate in their spiritual growth and development. They should be growing in their vocabulary. They should be growing in their scope of vision. They should be growing in their sphere of influence. We're not talking about cookie cutter. Okay, let's put him. We're talking about having a discipleship plan and having a plan that this person is going to succeed. He must be indoctrinated in their culture and everything, and expanding and growing, because it wouldn't make sense to put yourself in to follow yourself. You want to put someone better. And that means you're telling that person, hey, you need to be growing in these areas, and then holding them accountable to that growth, so that when you move off the scene, brother man can take over.
Oh, I hear you. That is beautiful. I wish we had music playing under you. that soliloquy of what perfect looks like. Perfect. Oh, I have a perfect number two that doesn't want his own church, that's not leaving, that's not been waiting on me to die, that's not waiting on me to fall, that's not splitting my church by taking half the people with him because he already got all that stuff you just said. He just waiting for his turn. So I love that. But again, I think coming from without, it has benefits. One, they don't have a clique. They don't have a crew that they're already connected to, right? So there's no favoritism being shown to certain individuals within the church. So when you get a new pastor, everybody in the church gets a fresh start. They don't have emotional restrictions, right? Concerning the previous pastor. When you come under another pastor and you honor that individual, right? There's some unwritten rules that you just follow because you want to be sensitive to who has went before you, right? And then when you come from within, you got those within who minimize your role as pastor because they saw you previously in a different capacity, whether or not you was an usher or a deacon, because the longer you've been at the church, the longer they saw you grow. And unfortunately, like Jesus of Nazareth, they look back at you like, ain't that the carpenter boy? They remember your first girlfriend, your first breakup, all your first mistakes, right? And they hold all that against you. And now they want to talk about you. You become the pastor. All those stories now become relevant. That just was a part of your journey and testimony. Now they talk about, oh, he used to be with so-and-so over there. So coming from within can really be difficult to actually be the pastor because they still looking at you as, oh boy, I remember when you was this and I remember when you was that.
And I can appreciate that, but coming from without, the danger you have, you don't know what baggage that person will be bringing into a new situation. The Bible says you can't put old wine into new wine into old wineskin. So if you bring in somebody from outside in, you don't know what you're getting. You're still going to have to go on this learning curve. And that learning curve may take 7 to 10 years. And some new fellas are not patient enough to take their time. Some of them get in and try to change everything after they've been there for 30 days and then disrupt everything. And then when there's a divide, they call it the devil and everybody else instead of looking in the mirror because I came from without and I rushed it because I wasn't properly prepared and indoctrinated in the culture so that I can learn how to take time with change, understanding that it takes a long time to change a battleship. It doesn't just change on a dime. But I think sometimes with that without of the church outside, you don't know who's voting. You know how we do. It becomes political. Now we get members who hadn't been to church in God knows how long. We just call up the dead and having them vote, and all these unspiritual people voting on a spiritual office. Then you got the danger of having some crazy person in leadership.
Okay. You went to another place, and I don't know what all of that's about. I know there was some absentee ballots, in the present. I don't know what's going on there, but let me say that, right? I think selecting someone from the outside really helps you assess who you are and what you need, right, and taking that next step because I think being faithful. You need to understand the kind of leader you need at a point in time in a church's, life, right? And so I think, if you just take the next person up because they're faithful or because they were there or because they were disciple, they may not actually have the gift mix of what you needed that season, even though they were faithful. Because sometimes you need a shepherd, right? With a heart to love the people. Sometimes you need an educator because right now you need somebody to feed the people. Sometimes you need a pastor with the prophetic gift to understand the times and the culture and the word of God and be able to discern and connect those things. Sometimes you need the apostolic gift, somebody who has the ability to shut things down and to start some things new. Sometimes you need an evangelist, somebody going to lead by example, leave out of the church and go reach people for Christ. Ephesians 4:11 talks about these gifts that the Lord gave to the church, and don't one pastor have all of those gifts, right? And so as a church, when you assess yourself, you got to know what type of gift that we need our leader to have for us in this season, right? And many times you may not, and if you just make the next guy because he's the next guy, not because he's actually what you need in that season, you do the church a disservice.
I agree.
Okay.
It has to
Oh,
be
wait,
by
did he
divine
say I
appointment.
agree?
He did say
By
that.
divine
He did say
appointment.
that. He did say that. Write that down.
wait a
Write that
minute. He definitely just said, I agree. Oh, look at that. We want to know what you guys think. So keep the comments going. Like, should the next pastor just be the next pastor because he's the one who's next? Or should the pastor truly assess what is necessary and what is needed for the church at this point in time? Thank you so much, Pastor Ricky. It was amazing
Thank
as
you.
always.
That was a good topic. I like that one right there.
That was a
That
good
good.
topic. I do
As if I
like
didn't
that
like the
one.
last one. No, that was good. But I
All
know
right.
this is going to be probably just as divided though as what we did last week. Like, so I'm
Oh
sure
my
they're going to be on
God.
opposite sides on this right here.
For sure, for sure. Well, let us go and pay some bills. Listen, if you want to become a sponsor of ours to keep our podcast running and keep it moving where it needs to move and going where it needs to get, all those things, please email us at AthensAvenuePodcast@gmail.com. We would definitely send out our sponsor package. We would love for you to become partners with us as we continue to have all these great conversations. We will be right back. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Now, wait a minute, guys. You know good and well that I'm not going to leave you. This is your girl, Mama Spitfire, a.k.a. Faith Stalker, a.k.a. Pastor Sone. I'm on the microphone. Yes, you can expect so many new things from our second season of Faith Stalking. We're going to be talking about trust. We're going to be talking about current events. We're going to be talking about marriages. We're going to be talking about relationships, friendships, your job. You may get some special guests, and I may even drop a bar or 16. Know what I mean? I'll see you soon. Peace. All right. What an awesome commercial break. Now we get to bring in the other big bro, Dr. Kyle Canty. I always give him a different introduction.
Yeah. Hear ye.
Hey, PK.
Is he
Hello,
whispering or
everyone.
is he on mute? Okay, what's up,
hello, everyone, man. It's so good to see you all. It's great sessions. I mean, so far the segments, man, have been incredible.
Today, you guys are going to talk about how to manage church finances in difficult times. And I feel like we're going to continue to see difficult times. So I'm interested to see what you all have to say.
Men of Issachar.
Interesting is that whole comment and the topic is something that, as a small church within an African American context, where the median income is not quite the lowest, but it's not the highest, and so there's poverty in our community, and we got members who are who are blue collar, and so even going through COVID and just people kind of figuring out how they're going to make it. We've experienced some really difficult financial times, and so we've learned some things about how to do that. And I think it's wisdom. I think it's being very creative. But even with that flexibility, and I know you can point to some instances where you've had to be that, where we've had to be that. But just even the process of creating a budget. As a church, we can't live without a budget. We can't kind of do ministry without kind of apportioning what the Lord brings in at a specific time to ministry. And one of the things I've recognized that we do, and one of the principles that I believe we've been able to live by as a church, is having kingdom priorities. Like, it's like ministry is first and foremost. Ministry is paramount. Ministry governs how we go about doing things. That Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto thee. Like, that's been an active principle as to how we go about surviving in very difficult periods of time, and in the place that we're in.
Absolutely. I think this idea of having a budget, many times when funds get tight, I know the first thing that goes is mission. The first thing that goes
Yeah.
is
Yep.
evangelism budgets, because you start trying to take care of buildings and bills,
Yeah.
and so you neglect the very call that you have as a church, because you're retreating, you're trying to save what you have. And the
Yeah.
truth is, if you did the exact opposite, right?
Exactly.
If you actually reached more people, you know what I mean? So the goal is not to conserve your bills so that you can survive and you can last. The goal is to reach more people so that you can have more
Exactly.
resources, and so we kind of flip and do things in the opposite direction of what we should do, because the first thing you think about is I'm broke, I got to stop spending, you
Yeah.
know. But I
Yeah.
think the real reality is you got to be conservative, but you got to watch what you spend and why you spend, right? And
Exactly.
so you got to make sure that what you're spending is actually investing in,
Yeah.
what it is that you're doing, and trusting that as a church who has been called to reach the lost, the moment we stop doing that, we actually cease being the church.
Church.
We
So
become
true.
a club. And so I think,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
really need to recognize that. I think also, educating people on financial stewardship,
Yeah.
because again, we got to be good stewards as a church, but we also got to be good steward as a body. And so I think helping people understand how to reduce their personal debt, how to not live beyond their means,
Yeah.
teaching them financial stewardship, teaching them how to cut up credit cards, teaching them how to live not just check to check, but how
Yeah.
to balance and budget their own. Because if you don't budget at home, look here, you're not going to budget at church, and
Yeah.
church going to fit in. If you living beyond your means, you don't mind tipping God as opposed to tithing to God,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Given that
So
consistent.
yeah, so you got to educate people on their own financial stewardship, because they make up the body, and if they're financially savvy, then it gives you a much better shot of being a church that's
Yeah.
financial savvy.
And we've seen that. I mean, when we think about over the years, I mean, we've been doing this a minute. We know the lean times. We just went through the COVID piece and those lean times, and usually when folks go to on vacation in the summertime, the giving dips. And
Summertime.
yeah,
Hmm.
summertime is like, yo, we are like on bread and water as a church. But one of the things that we've just kind of had to do, at one point we were doing a rolling 3-year budget. Like, we think about, like, there are some good times that supply the lean times, and so you
Hmm.
kind of navigate around that whole budget piece. One of the things that we've learned to do is to really watch our utilities, those expenses that kind of rise and fall immediately. One of the things, with the priority to our ministries, we've been training our leaders to think through, how is this event, or how is this ministry going to run in reality, and
Hmm.
actually coming up with an itemized expense beforehand. Because we're the type of church, when we see a need,
Hmm.
we're going to address the need, but we need to do that with some wisdom. And so there may be an opportunity to serve our context that's not on the calendar, and
Hmm.
so we need to be nimble enough to be able to address that as a church, again, to keep ministry as a priority, to be good stewards of what God has given us. And that's just so critically important. And so, but I know that for us, for a smaller church, for a church that of our size, utilities, the unknowns, keeping an eye on those things are just critically important, and being balanced in what we spend. Like, each of those big expenses during the year are usually on things that improve our ministry space, so that we can welcome people from the community, so that we can be a resource to our community versus a distraction to our community, and a drain to our community.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think we need to obviously have a do a sermon series on giving is about faith, not finances. Because
Yeah.
again, a lot of times, again, we don't have enough faith to actually even give. Right? We don't
Yeah.
have a faith that God has provided, and we're giving back out of what He's provided for us, and He'll provide again
Yeah.
for us. And so I think there's a level of faith. I think this idea that spending should be on need and not on greed. Because when you in it, as you said, you're in the lean times. And when you got to have, and I think about, you remember when we had summers where people go away and people don't come back and double up.
Yeah.
People go away for summers and a week
That's
off.
it.
A
This is
week off of
peace.
church mean a week off from giving. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
without a digital platform and multiple,
Yeah.
in order for them to give, it can be out of sight, out of mind. But when you have the multiple platforms, and I think we got like 5 of them, I think.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
We make it available.
I think that is important. I mean, there was a time where having Cash App would have been seen as appalling as a church, or you know what I mean. But now it's like boom. Now being able to give digitally on a website in the multiple ways, ties.ly, like folks need to know that hey, I can still give even if I'm not there. Just like people are watching now and online, and so you can create more ways for them to give. Create more opportunity for that because that will be encouraging to your bottom line, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think all of that is so critically important is wisdom, and one of the things that we do is our books are open to our members, and when we have meetings, we don't sugarcoat stuff. We don't sugarcoat, whether it's with leaders, whether it's with members. They deserve to know where we are at as a church and why we can't all out per se. It's like, we keep folks informed. There are many sacrifices that have to be made, and we make those in order to see the work go forward. And this is the balance between vision, because one of us is real big vision. We got some real big vision people at Great Commission Church, but sometimes you just got to balance that with just reality. Like, yo, I see what you're trying to do over here, but let me just kind of show you what's here.
This ain't about me and you, man. We trying to help. We trying to help the other, the others.
Yeah, but I just think it's some wisdom. I'm just joking, but I think it's so much wisdom in the experience that we've been through and how to navigate difficult times as a church within a context that we're in. It's unique, and it we don't have a lot of resources, but understanding priorities, understanding reality of where we're at, training our people, training our leaders to actually take account before, count the cost before stepping out.
I think that's great. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your insight, your help on this, and I hope that our people are educated. And if you have other suggestions of how to continue to be sustaining as a church during lean times, make sure you put it in the comments so everybody can be educated. Iron can sharpen iron as we sharpen one another. So put your comments down there in there. Let us know what you do when times get tough. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys are so smart. And here's another thing. I like what you said, PK, about the fact that, you share your books. How many churches are doing that anymore? When I was in college, they would have open meetings about the budget. This is how much is going here. This is how much is going here. If you have questions, now you have answers. I'm not sure that churches today, I don't know, but I haven't seen a lot of churches that still do that so that you can ask questions. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Did Pastor Ricky, would you like to come in on this? Look, I don't know why I asked that, y'all. Y'all know he want to come in.
I'm always wanting to come in, man. I just love being.
He always got something to say. Come on.
Well, I appreciate what you gentlemen shared. It was very, very good and encouraging. And we do the book sharing, every quarter. Sometimes we have what we call family forum. We don't call it business meetings because, business meetings nothing more than fight night at the church. Family forum means we look at the books and then we constructively go forward. One of the things I thought that Dr. L.A. presented is that when it's lean times, we need to let the congregation know that they need to make adjustments. There should be a stronger level of accountability to the congregation. Hey, not that we showing you the books. Okay, some of y'all not giving. Okay, let's start talking about that because we're in these lean times, not because of the times, but because you are keeping the money in your pocket and not putting it in the plate.
Look, these lights ain't gonna pay for themselves. Hello, church.
Well, I'm just saying.
Every time you bring this dude in,
Keep it real. Keep it real, Pastor
You're gonna
Ricky.
do it.
I mean, look.
Because some people are thrilled that they gave $50 all year. I'm saying, why are we so excited about $50 when you make 50,000 and you gave $50? Why should we be excited?
Oh,
But anyhow,
that's
that was my segment.
okay.
Well,
Alrighty
guys.
then.
Thank you, PK.
Yeah.
Thank you,
that
Pastor
sounds like
Ricky.
an in the corner.
Yeah,
I know,
right?
right? Oh, I mean, we might have to add it. But listen, thank you so much, PK. I'll see you at the end of the show. It was awesome as
Definitely.
always.
Oh
my
my
goodness.
I
The
know
two
that's
of
right.
them. Well, let's go ahead and check out our guests on the spot.
You're about to hit your favorite segment because I know what you're gonna say. We're coming to my favorite segment, So I'm like, okay, here we go. Yeah,
Did
here
you
we go.
already know what I was going
Yes,
to say?
yes,
This is
yes.
my favorite segment. This is on the spot. Okay. Okay. This is Minister Solomon Jones. Look, I love his bio includes when he accepted the Lord and Savior, as his personal Savior. I love it. That is a part of his bio.
Amen.
And he said he accepted Jesus Christ as a personal Savior as a preteen. Huh? He is an award-winning radio host, which is absolutely amazing because we have a podcast. I want to know more about that. He appears on the weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Word, WURD radio, and also appears weekly on Classics 107.9 FM. And he appears frequently on CNN, and he's also an author. He also serves at one of my favorite churches, Great Commission Church, with the senior pastor, Dr. Larry Anderson. He's also on the ministerial staff there. So everyone give a round of applause to none other than Minister Solomon Jones.
Hey, what's up? Thank you for that.
Welcome to the spot.
How y'all doing?
What's up, bro?
We're good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great.
First I want to say thank you to you because this guy, in his hosting of his radio shows that he do, he's always promoted me. He's always promoted the gospel. Each time I wrote a book, he's had me on his show. He promotes the things that we do to continue to lift up the community. He is a voice for the voiceless, man, and I appreciate his ministry. I appreciate his integrity, his love for his wife, as things that don't hit the bio. He's a faithful husband and a faithful father. And so he's a guy that I really admire. Everybody always asks me, how do I do all the things that I do? Well, me and him ask each other that, because he does a million things, man. So I just want to give you your props and say thank you for always being supportive of myself, man.
Pleasure.
You've successfully been able to navigate journalism and politics. Let me ask this: as a minister of the gospel, how has that helped or hindered your progress in all of these places?
I think the gospel helps to keep me level and level-headed, understanding that everything that I do and everything that I am and everything that I've been able to achieve is because Christ allowed it, and placed me in these different situations and different places that, quite frankly, I never thought I would be. I took journalism in college because I liked to write, and that was the only thing I saw where they would pay you to actually do it. And so it's like, everything kind of led into everything else, and all of it, I think, plays a role in what I do and how I do it. But yeah, the gospel keeps me level-headed and keeps me on mission, understanding that I'm not just representing me, that I'm representing Christ.
I have a question. You have written, now is it over 11 books or just 11 books?
11.
You've written 11 books. Okay. Because I
Yes.
wasn't sure if it was over that 11. And in those 11 books, I love how you even mentioned, it kind of segued into what we're going to ask you. You had mentioned that you loved to write. Is there a desired response that you kind of expect from your readers that are reading your books?
That's a good question. I hope first and foremost that they'll enjoy them. When I teach writing, I talk about our duty as writers is to make the reader turn the page. I mean, that's just it. If you are
That's
bored
good.
with that first page, you'll never read the rest. You'll never get to the good part if the good part's not right up front. And so we want to make sure as writers that we're communicating in such a way that people want to hear more. So that's the first thing I think that I want the reader to experience. I want them to want more. And then I think I want them to learn something while they're being entertained and while they're being engaged. I want them to learn something. I want them to come away thinking about something. I think that's the difference between reading and every other form of communication, right? So when you're watching TV or when you're watching a movie, you're being fed something, right? But as a reader, you have to actually envision what it is that you're reading. You have to paint your own pictures in your mind, and it allows you to think about stuff in a way that other mediums just don't. And that's why I love the communication, because it is two-way communication. It's you conveying something, and a reader might take it in all kinds of different ways because it's their job to envision it in their minds.
So you also are an educator. Shout out to the educators. All of us
Shout out to
have
them.
taught. Yeah, all of us teach. I'm an accounting professor. We know that Dr. LA teaches in seminary.
Okay.
Where do you teach?
So I taught. I'm not currently teaching it, but I taught at Temple
Okay.
University as an adjunct in the African American Studies department.
Awesome.
It was interesting because they allowed me to put together my own curriculum. At that time, I think I had about 8 books. And they were like, look, man, that's your master's right there. Just go ahead and create your own curriculum. And I did that. And hopefully I helped them in a small way by helping them to discover their gift and their talent around writing.
You did a fiction.
For 8 of the 11, they were novels. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 of the 11 were novels.
Because I know 10 Lives, 10 Demands is just a totally different genre than what you're used to writing in. Where are you going from here with your writing?
Wow, I think that I want to continue to explore storytelling, and so I know that I'll be doing some fiction. There's a piece that we did called Justice that kind of combines a lot of that. It is, for lack of a better term, a radio drama that centers around the fight for change in the criminal justice system. And so it is a drama that starts with a police shooting and sort of goes from there. It incorporates faith and struggle and family and race and class. And so that's something that we're working on now to get on as part of my show, as one of the segments that we'll do. And so you're actually the first one to hear that, but we're working on actually bringing that to the airwaves now. I think the other thing that I would love to see is for one of my novels to become a movie. That's always been a dream of mine, and that's the dream that I share when we work with kids. Your dreams need to be big, so big that it's a God-sized dream, really. And so
right.
I would love to see one of my novels become a film. I would love to see Justice come to the airwaves, and eventually I will go back to doing some fiction when the spirit hits me.
What has kept you from running from political office?
I'm trying to run for the Lord. That's my standard answer, right? But I think the other answer is that politics is, I've seen it from the inside, and there's so much compromise that has to be done in order for you to be effective politically. You might have to support some stuff that you don't support in order for your stuff to get passed, especially as part of a legislative body. But I think that in some ways I could be more effective from where I am, in really speaking truth to power and using my platform in order to kind of move people who are in power to the positions that we need them to be. Now, who knows? God might say something else, and I might have to do that eventually. But right now, I'm pleased with how I'm able to use the platform that I have.
Tell me, in your words, what keeps you so humble in spite all of the commercial success?
I know where I come from. I know where I've been. Homelessness and poverty, and went through an addiction. And thank God I'm 26 years clean at this point. But I know where I come from, and I know that everybody, man, has the potential to be something much more than what you see. And so, I want to treat everybody with the same respect that I want from people, and that I wanted from people, during some of my struggles. And so, knowing where I come from really does keep me grounded. And knowing that the Lord brought me from there to where I am for his purpose, whatever that is, that keeps me grounded and keeps me, from getting a big head and thinking that I'm all that, and I'm doing what God allows me to do.
So I like to end on a light note. What's your favorite color?
Cream.
Oh, them dark-skinned brothers always want to wear. Them dark-skinned brothers always want to wear.
That's right. It brings it out. You know what I mean?
And pink.
I always remember that milk and cookies.
That's right. That's right.
That milk and cookies. I'm not mad at the cream. Look, he thought about it. He said, no, okay, cream is good. Cream is good. Now, what is your favorite? You know what? I'll give you your top 5. What are your top 5 favorite books?
I love Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston.
Yes.
Really good book. I'll give you one of my favorite authors, Diane McKinney Whetstone. She's out of Philly. Langston Hughes. I love his short stories. I think he has a short story book called The Ways of White Folks. Love that. I was the activist even before I knew it. Right. So I love that.
I love that.
Yeah. When I read that, I love Stephen King. His stories are very simple, but always engaging. Yeah. That's it.
That's it. Awesome. All right. My last one, and we've asked other people this too. What is your favorite food?
I'm so black. Fried chicken. I mean, just, what I mean? I didn't go front. Fried chicken.
He rolled his eyes and was like, this is so stereotypical, guys, but we might as well just go ahead and go with it.
Macaroni and cheese with it. You know what I mean?
Stop.
Yams, greens.
And some yams. Yes. And I don't eat the chicken.
Straight soul food.
I can't eat the chicken, but I can make it very well. I just I don't eat chicken anymore. I know. I think I turned in my black card. But thank you, Solomon. It has been.
Thanks. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
It's been amazing
to join us. Appreciate you.
For sure.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you for having me on. Thank Pastor Larry Anderson for inviting me to come. You inspire me as much as I inspire you. And so thank you for that. Thank you for being just who you are, man. Just a man of integrity, just straight up. And I appreciate that about you. I think that the thing I want to leave the listeners with is that, man, you could be anything that you want to be, that you can achieve at levels that you never thought that you could, that God will take you places that you never expected to be. That's been my testimony, and that's been my truth. And so that's what I try to let other people know, man, that no matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life, if you can look up, you can get up, and God will extend his hand so that you can do that. And so trust in him and just know that he's there, man, through the good, through the bad, through the ugly, through your falls, through all of it, that he's there, and that he loves you and wants you to be more than what you are.
Oh my goodness, what an awesome interview, Dr. LA. Yes, we have the best guests.
We do.
Clearly we have the best guests. We really do. It's been a good show. I'm sad that next week is our last show. Are you crying?
Yeah, on the inside, really.
On the inside.
I'll be doing
because Karate Man bruised on the inside.
Karate Man bruised on the inside.
Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and bring back our co-host. Look at PK.
Just great stuff today.
It was good. Is Pastor Ricky?
Yeah.
Where's Pastor Ricky at?
Ricky
Coming in?
can't
Ricky see? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes the shirt just hypnotized me.
Oh, not his shirt.
Well, not my
Oh
shirt.
my
It's
goodness.
Wakanda.
Man, I love your jazzy ways. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
Man,
that's
Oh
wild.
my goodness.
shoot.
This was definitely a good episode. We definitely have a rhythm. We're so happy that everyone is continuing. I made that word up.
Continuing.
I made that word up. Put it in a
Yeah.
dictionary because it's a new word.
That's what they be saying on the app. Continually.
Continually. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. We're so glad that you guys are joining us consistently. How about that? We're just gonna we're gonna try a whole new word
That's
because
appropriate.
clearly I can't talk.
All
my
You be all right.
goodness. Thank you. Anybody got any closing words? Come on. I always put Dr. LA on the spot. Anybody want to give some encouraging words? I don't know, Pastor Ricky. Let me give you the spot.
Give him the
Okay,
spotlight.
go ahead.
Give me the spot. Thank you. Let me just encourage the body of Christ. It is good to be a part of this body. The Lord has orchestrated so that you can have impact and influence in your sphere of influence. So I want to encourage you to stand strong and to be faithful, because the Lord is going to bring you through, strengthen you for whatever He has assigned for your hands to do. Peace.
Listen.
Amen.
Look. It's been a pleasure, guys.
That was the benediction.
That
That
was
was
the
a benediction, wasn't it?
Yeah,
We'll see
that was
you
straight out the
guys.
back of Jude.
Oh my goodness. We'll
Keep
see you
you from
next
falling.
week. Look, I can't even say we'll see you next week on Athens Avenue. Now, guess what happens when you give people the spotlight. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.
Next week on Athens Avenue.
You're talking about these organic things. You're talking about being in a food desert and going through a pandemic and people losing jobs and not having resources. And so we start a food pantry to supplement that. And so again, even if the strategy is seasonal, you got to do what you just said. Recognize who you are, recognize what the community needs, and bridge the two together. Right?
Yeah.